In the last part of Module 2, we're going to look at the functions and the effects of culture. Culture can limit us and liberate us. It defines, divides, and unites us. It shapes the way we think and feel and act, and mass media helps create that culture. Culture limits and liberates us. The traditions and learned behavior of culture help us know how to act. Our ideas of right and wrong are shaped by our culture. And forming those ideas is one of the most important aspects of culture. If we learn right and wrong from our home, can we keep those ideas when we move out into different cultures? And how do we learn these ideas if we aren't exposed to them at home and in our tribe? Which storyteller is now influencing our culture? Each of us has many different cultures. We have our personal culture, who we are when we're just being ourselves. We have our family culture, who we are with our immediate family. Our bounded or subculture is who we are when we're around friends. Marketers now refer to this as our tribe. The public or dominant culture is the one that's accepted by most of society. As I mentioned earlier, conflict between culture and setting can cause social tension. Our dominant culture provides us with directions on how to act properly in public. These are elaborate and accepted social rituals. But increasingly, people are using their personal or their bounded cultures in public. When we see someone acting in public according to their personal or bounded culture, we don't know our role. We don't understand their private rituals. We don't know how we're supposed to act. The uneasiness we feel around other cultures isn't necessarily bigotry. It can reflect our confusion about our role in unfamiliar rituals. Our culture defines us as a nation. In theory, America is a melting pot where many different people of different cultures can find common ground. These smaller, bounded cultures merge to make up the dominant culture. But the melting pot of society seems to have given way to isolationism. Rather than assimilate bounded cultures into the dominant culture, people band together, sometimes physically, sometimes socially, to preserve their identity. Well, this will continue to cause friction with those who encourage people to adopt the dominant culture. So, what happens when individuals choose to be defined by their bounded culture or tribe instead of the dominant one? Well, they can be viewed as isolationist, ungrateful, un-American, because they reject the dominant American culture. And to what lengths will they go to preserve their bounded culture? At the personal level, preserving the purity of one's culture can lead to intolerance and racism. At the national level, preserving the purity of one's culture can lead to oppression and even genocide. Later, we'll look at attempts by Canada and France to preserve their dominant culture in a time of global communication. So you have personal culture, you have dominant culture, and you have bounded or tribal cultures. These last are sometimes known as subcultures. They distinguish themselves from the dominant culture, and sometimes they oppose it. They create their own rules for acceptance, sometimes very rigid. A gang is just the bounded culture who places its own rules above the general rules of society. These subcultures form natural niches for mass media communication. In Module 3, we'll move away from culture and we'll look at the media as an industry. Later on, we'll show how the two issues are related.